RBE. It has the same guitar riff.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the first ever Cosmic Stew behind the scenes map making Q&A. So today I'm honestly gonna keep this pretty fluid and just work on some maps. I have a map I need to make for our next Atlas of Ronglu volume, the Tumultuan Jungle 1. And I'm thinking I'm going to start in Dungeon Draft. The city's called Teshabal, and it's kind of the entrance to the Tumultuan Jungle. Like I said, this is also part Q&A, so if you have any questions about the map making process or anything having to do with Cosmic Stew in general, please feel free to ask in the chat. I'll be checking it frequently if I can fight my tendency to fixate on what I'm working on. I'll also try to talk through everything that I'm doing to the best of my ability and kind of my thought processes. Also, I really want to point out that for this stream and probably future streams, I'm using the music by Alexander Nakarada, which is the title is Village Ambiance. And so in the comments, I've put links to the music and the license that I'm using it under. But I just wanted to give a shout out because people putting content like that out on the internet makes it a lot easier to produce really nice content for our viewers. So yeah, I always want to try to give a shout out like that best that I can. So I was kind of on the fence about whether I'd start in Photoshop or Dungeon Draft for this video. My typical map making process is pretty sporadic, and I kind of just go with what I need to at the moment. Typically, I'll do some sketching on pen and paper just to figure out the format. I've done a lot of that, and for this map in particular, I still haven't really come to any consensus on how I want to start it. So I'm thinking I'm just going to start in Dungeon Draft, see what I can get out on with the terrain tool and a couple of other things, and then go into Photoshop if I need to. This is going to be a 2-level map, so maybe I should just kind of sketch out what I'm thinking and show it to you. So it's always hard to choose how large I want to make the map, but I'm thinking I'm going to make this one 33 by 39. That gives a really nice, and when I say 33 by 39, I mean like the grid, which is supposed to scale to be like, if you were standing on the map, each grid square would be 5 by 5, 25 square feet. And then if if I'm talking about a grid and say 33 by 39, that means 33 5-foot section wide. So yeah, I'm thinking about doing 33 by 39 just because that gives a really large area to work in. And it's going to be a double level map. So there's going to be this upper level. I don't know if you can. So there's going to be this upper level right here where like there's a river that's falling down, and then there will be a lower level which will have kind of a port where ships will dock, something like that. So, and then there's going to be I kind of want to integrate 2 of them, but I'm thinking there will be a couple lifts in the waterfalls. It's kind of hard to explain what I'm thinking until I have it out in the program. Or maybe as the waterfall goes over the edge, maybe the lift is kind of to the side of the waterfall like that instead. I don't know. I'll just start in Dungeon Draft and see what's up. So to start something new, I already have the 33 wide by 39 tall. That is not A3, but just is on that. And then I have some of my own, some Cosmic Stew assets that I've made that I think I might try to integrate. I have this one that it's called Kelp, but really it's like kind of just any plant or under foliage. And then I have some rocks that are pretty nice. Then if need be, I do have some by some very talented artists, Ascendi and Giordi. They make great assets for Dungeon Draft. So I'm just gonna have all of those active as I go in. All right. So Dungeon Draft has loaded up. See that it's a pretty large area. It'll be nice for I think it'll be nice for working in and trying to kind of work some ideas out. It's better to start with in general, I like to start with like a small area and kind of build off of it. But for something like this, where I think I'm going to have a lot going on, I don't think I can do that. I think I need to start pretty much with as large an area as possible. And so I know I'm going to have like a cliff, and I know I want water to be able to flow over that cliff. So what I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to use the standard cliffs that come in Dungeon Draft. Probably size them up to be about 2 times the size. And that might give us a decent look. I'm going to turn snap, and I'll leave the grid on because I want to know how large things are in relation to the rest of the map. But I'm going to turn the snap off because it's really, really irritating as you're trying to kind of make a free form. So honestly, I could make this cliff edge kind of look however I want, but I want it to be really tall. Like I want, as you're approaching this city entrance, which has like all these cliffs, I want it to be pretty intimidating. So that would be a large cliff rather than a small cliff. And I could just size this up to be like 3 times the size, but then that also like increases the line weight of the asset, which will change the fidelity. It makes it look like maybe you're like more zoomed in. So I like to try to keep everything looking like within the context of the piece. So if I want to make a larger cliff but preserve that kind of lighter line weight, I can just add another layer of cliffs underneath. So that's why over here I chose under, and I can kind of like poke out every once in a while. I'll use delete if I want to get rid of a point. See, I can delete all the way back. So it's really important to learn the shortcuts for Dungeon Draft. And pretty much any program you're going to use as a digital artist, if you learn the keyboard commands, you'll just be able to navigate so much faster and really bring down the time it takes for you to work in the space. So I kind of like the look of that. Like if I just stop that there, then it kind of looks like maybe this area is jutting out a lot further than this one. Maybe this one's more shallow. Like I could, like maybe it's steeper, you know. But the thing is, I'm thinking like this is probably around the area that I'll want to put a waterfall. So I really, in the past, have tried to plan this kind of stuff out before I go into it, just because I don't want to be stuck here all day, like messing around with random things and then it not working out. But I've also had an experience recently where I made it was for the free community inspired map on Patreon. I made this kind of undersea map, and just honestly, I totally winged it. I like came into Dungeon Draft, threw some lines, or no, I started in Photoshop. I literally sketched like the most ridiculous lines possible, super simple lines, and then just overlaid it in Dungeon Draft, and kind of figured it out from there. Laid in some terrain, and went back into Photoshop, and kind of just went back and forth, not really with any direction. I thought it turned out really well. I brought some textures in from Free Pick, which I use, and it turned out amazing. And I totally didn't have a plan, which I feel like sometimes without planning and not having any expectations, whatever I make ends up feeling really good, because I didn't get super worked up about it being like really awesome. But I've honestly made a few sketches for this, so I've made multiple sketches and none of them have really felt right. So there is like a little bit of self pressure coming into like make this map good, but at the same time, I've been trying so hard to like figure out something that looks cool. It might just be the case that I just need to do it. And I find that that's kind of how art happens in general a lot of times. So one thing you'll notice as I'm putting these cliffs down in Dungeon Draft, this cliff path, is that the path kind of looks the same at every point, every iteration. So if you look at the lines in this cliff path versus this cliff path versus this one, all the lines look the same. It looks like I just took that path and copy and pasted it. And one way you can fight that is if you like start with your cursor all the way out here and put a cliff down, then it'll start the cliff at a different by the time the cliff is visible on the screen, the lines will be at a different spot, if that makes sense. But I honestly don't really like the idea of having a ton of cliffs, kind of like a ton of stuff out to the side here that I can't easily edit if I'm trying to later. So maybe this will work. Typically I'm going to do a lot of post-processing in Photoshop anyway. So it's something I can probably change if I want to. Like, I don't need to be super concerned about it here. I can't decide if this is looking good. That's actually kind of cool. So this would be like the build up to, I don't know, is that cliff steep enough? So here I do want to show kind of what I'm talking about. Gonna go through my files over here. Can't let some secret projects get out, but looking for the regional map of the Tumultuan Jungle, because this is where the entrance is going to be. So here's a Teshabal, And as we zoom in, this coast, I'm thinking, oh man, I might have, oh, I can just flip it. Okay. So I was thinking about having the lifts be on this side. And as you'll see, I'm orienting the cliffs facing what would, like if these were in this same orientation and both were correct, then technically this cliff face would be facing north. So the lifts would have to be on this side of the Strait of Brandon. But I want the cliffs to actually be on the, or I want the lift to be on this east side. Maybe even over here, and then have like a road going up to Teshabal. So what I'm thinking is I might just keep doing it how I am because it's more intuitive, and then turn it 90 degrees in Photoshop and just yeah, I think that could work. Who knows, might be a bad idea, but so that's looking all right. Just start here, make some, I think I can probably, can I fit two? Well, if I do one on, so what I'm trying to decide right now is I wanted to fit 2 waterfalls to have 2 lifts, both powered by these like water-filled buckets. But it might be more interesting just to have it as one large waterfall that both of the lifts are powered by. Alternatively, I could see it being like 4 lifts and 2 waterfalls. I'm just gonna do a quick look at what it might look like if I were to like, oh, that might be cooler. It would have a lot less space for like what's going on up here, which is the problem, is that I want to show both buildings on the top layer and this like whole port area, but this is a massive size for a port, and the map is already really large. I really like the form I have going on here, but I could see myself making this entire area even more rocky, kind of having like, let's see, more cliffs coming out like here, maybe coming up and around. I mean, the great thing is I think I can pretty much change, in Dungeon Draft, you can change the size of your map pretty much at any time you want. But when I do that, I'll have to like start adding points to all these. That actually looks pretty cool. That looks like, that looks more easily scalable. I guess if you're trying to get like really heavy stuff up, but why wouldn't you just make some stairs, I mean, does it really matter? does look pretty cool. Looks a lot more natural as well. Do I make it wider? That'd be kind of gnarly. The only way I could see myself getting around, like, why they wouldn't just build stairs on this side is if this whole thing is, like, actually way taller. Like, if I add a bunch of layers down here, kind of thing. So it doesn't make sense for me to add larger cliffs underneath, because the line weight will make it appear like it is closer. But if I brought it down to, like, see, I think I was laying them down at 2, so if I bring it down to 1, yeah, it might look like it's receding. Really what I should have done is I should have made every layer recede a little bit, or every layer a little bit smaller, to make it look like it was receding into the distance. So Landon did this thing though, with one of the most recent packs he made, where the upper area, which was the Lesser King Mantis temple entrance, was a different aspect ratio than the actual dungeon. Wondering if I could get away with that here as well. Like, if I made this upper area a different size than the lower area. To think about it. I think going down to 1 was too much. It was too far. But if I go to 1.5, yeah, it looks a little bit better. Oh, crap. If you're going to Control Z to get rid of the path you just made, you'll want to make sure that you finish the path. Otherwise, you want to press delete. But if you're like using the path and it's active, and you press Control Z, you're just gonna undo a bunch of the paths that you don't want to do, a bunch of them that you laid down already. So I'm just gonna add a crap ton of cliffs over here. Something about making like a cliff heavy map is, if you really want to show all this depth, you kind of just end up using a lot of space. It's not a bad thing, but okay. So I was thinking that the elevator would go over here. Is that still making sense? Like, oh man, what if I had I could just bring all of these out and have like, oh, that might be cool. So what if I have a river, and on the river, above the river, are like these a bunch of piers, like docks kind of, and but all your goods would get wet. No, okay, I got it. I think I know how I'm gonna. This is gonna be strange, but let's do it. Okay, I'm gonna have to edit a lot of these points. Is it worth editing the points, or should I just delete them and redraw them? That I can't tell what would be quicker. I'll just try this. Dang, it's gonna be a hard one to get. There we go. So I'm thinking I'll have like this kind of stone, like almost like a little peninsula jutting out. I don't know what else you would call it. Yeah, I think I might honestly just redraw these because that'll be way quicker. Except for the top one. I'll set the top one. And then that'll be like my limiting factor. I shouldn't make any of the others before make this top one. So what I'm going to do, might be best if I just kind of lay it out really quick. So I'm going to have rivers like here, here, let's see, maybe over here, but I need to make these cliffs super large. So I might actually get rid of like some of this area. Hold Alt. Get through here. Okay. So what I'm gonna have like wooden, like super high up docks, and the river will flow in mass over this area. So that'll be strange. I don't know if this will work. Yeah, because if I want that to be, this is gonna be tricky. Okay. So I'm gonna have to make two separate maps. One where I have I guess I could use layers maybe. Those don't work super well in Dungeon Draft. That's why I use Photoshop in conjunction. So here's the problem with this setup. I need to have a river up here that flows over. And then I need to have water down here. Oh, man. Actually, it might not be the end of the world. There are these like waterfall stamps. Good. I want them to be like white. Yeah, because this would be like white water. Okay. So I have the waterfall going over. Definitely going to turn shadows off for this. This would be a pretty big waterfall. So if I put that there, does it make the separation between, let's see, if I like put a couple of those around. I'm not sure if this is working how I want it to. That doesn't look like very large, you know? Maybe I just need to make the water look more organic, and then it'll... Let's see. So how wide would this be? That'd be like a 10-foot... 10-foot waterfall. It's interesting. Don't know what I would ever use that for. I wish there was this kind of thing, but just the misty part. Alright, well, whatever. I'm gonna go on from that. I want to throw some docks in here. So this is gonna look super rough for a minute, and then I'm gonna like just tidy it up. I think that'll work best. So I want to make some docks. These wooden bridges work really well for this. But I'll need to make them above water. Yeah. Maybe 2.5. Ooh, okay. Yeah, it's looking good. So what I'll do is I'll come back later. And for these, I actually might use snap, because then it'll be nice and in line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this pretty rough, and then I can edit the water as I need to and make like two versions, like an upper version and a lower version if I have to, with different waters. And then I can cut the upper version out in Photoshop and overlay it on the lower version, and that'll look really cool. And then I can do like I'm thinking as I'm showing the upper version, I can try to do some sort of like Gaussian blur or something to make it look like the stuff on the bottom, like the lower area, is out of focus and retreating. So I have to ask myself, how large or how much space will each lift need? And so I'm going to have the water coming from this side. The lift buckets will be here, and the lifts will be over here. Even make like... So the lift goes here, the bucket goes here. How large do I want my lift to be? Do I have any structural engineers in the comments who can let me know? I can also just like look it up. How big is it? Like what should I look at? Like industrial elevator? How large is a service elevator? Common residential is 3 foot wide by 4 foot deep. Okay, here we go. This is from dimensions.com. There's a 3.6 meter. It's like a 11 foot 9 inch by 8 foot 1 inch. Sorry, feet. Hold 4,000 pounds, 20 to 30 people. Yeah, I think something like that would work. I mean, like, this is a fantasy world, so I can say I want it to be 10 by 10. That would give, or maybe 12 by 12. That might be kind of weird in this, though. I mean, so I have 15 feet across here. So that could accommodate a lift. Now, I need room for the bucket, so this is going to have to come out quite a bit. Maybe like there. Would that give me room for the bucket, the lift, and the mechanism? Think maybe one more. That should be good. So I'm putting 3 squares across. Need to bring these ones out. That would mean that each of these docks is like 10 feet wide. That would work, right? Like, it's funny. The first versions that I was making of this, I just had like one giant lift being powered by by like a mill. I don't know what it's called other than that. So it's like a mill powered single elevator that would transport like 150 people at a time. I don't think it would work logistically, though. Turn snap off, actually, because sometimes some pieces will get kind of cut off if I'm messing with the path tool, and I don't really like the way it looks. So, like, yeah, that looks fine. All right. So honestly, around now is the time when I would want to go and make go and make the stamps for this, huh? Let's see if I can make it look like the waterfalls there. Now that I have those piers. I want the dogs to go further, though. I do want some sort of like building here, right? I think so. Alright. So I'd want it to be... I'd want it to be under these. Okay. Know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put all of these on like layer 3. Does that work? Actually, I just kind of... Do these have transparency settings? Oh, man. Oh, that's great. Okay. So I might come in later and change these a bit. But kind of get the idea. I don't know if the transparency is actually working very well. What if I set it to the blue? Yeah, there we go. Still looks kind of messy. I also have to think about having the buckets there. Honestly, that might be something that I just do in Photoshop. I really can just kind of figure it out in there. I don't know. I like finding ways to do it natively in Dungeon Draft. Because once you figure a way out, it kind of just stays with you. And then you can do things a lot faster in the program. But I haven't messed around with water very much. Okay, so one of these will work. That's interesting. Just trying to intelligently place some of this mist. Is that too much? I don't know. It's actually looking decent. So I'm just kind of trying to space these waves out in a way that seems like it follows the laws of physics. Yeah, looks pretty good. All right. So that's a decent start to like a microcosm of this map. I think I might go into Photoshop now and just kind of work on the lifts. I have a lift design that I'm going to try to use. It involves like, I'll draw it. So definitely want to save this. Teshabal. The lifts of Teshabal. Yeah, I'll save this. Okay. Now. Let's go into Photoshop. And look up elevator design. There's one that I am already planning to use. That'll work really well in this system with the waterfall. Also, check out this crazy map that Landon mixed up. So he took Sojourn's Wake and put it next to Halleck's Bay. It has a ridiculous water texture. It just looks so good. Okay. So I can actually calculate. Oh, I shouldn't have closed Thunderdraft because I can actually calculate how large I should make my canvas for the lift. What did I name that thing? The lifts of Decibel. Okay. So, let's see, 3, 6. I'm really go to here, so I think that's 7. 3, 7. The bucket will be somewhere around here. Yeah, that'll work. So if I make it 3 by 7, if I want to do that at 70 DPI, then I'm just going to write out all this math. And then 150 DPI, that'll be rough. So the 70 DPI is what's optimized for Roll20 maps, and they look really good in there. You have to keep the size under, I think, 5 megabytes if you want it to work with the interface. It's not a very large canvas, only 210 by 490. Okay, I'm going to make it at the larger canvas size, which is 450 by 1050. And then I can just reduce the size to be 70 dpi later. This will be the 150 dpi. So the width is going to be what's longer. And the height will be 450. Leave it at 300. All right. So this is the area that I need to make my lift. I could make a simple grid really quick so that I know I'm within. Holy crap. What is up with that? No, make it 1 pixel, please. Okay, cool. Jeez. Come on. Make a background layer really quick. When I'm working in Photoshop, I really try to keep my layers organized because when you're making future edits, it will streamline everything. If you do not organize it, you'll be like flying through on your scroll wheel trying to find the thing you need. So let's just duplicate this layer and move it. Cool. So I'm going to set the X to 0 and the Y I want to be at 150. There we go. Which means for this one, I want it to be at 300. Just going in intervals of 150 because that's what the DPI is. That's how many pixels are in each grid square. Okay. Then I'm going to duplicate another of these layers and Control T to transform it, and then transform it 90 degrees. Oops. And then I want the X this time to be at 150. The Y I'll leave at whatever it is. Then I'll duplicate the layer. Make this one 300. Then I could duplicate both of them. Together, make theirs 450. Let's see, which one is this? So that's 600. So then the next group I'll make 750. Yeah. Oh. Need to duplicate it first. And then make it 750 on the x-axis. There we go. All right. So now I know the rough area that I'm working with. I'm just going to delete any of these layers that aren't being shown so I don't have excess information. Then I'm going to take all of these layers. Now I could just merge them into one image, or I could group them into a group so that it's still editable. Typically, I like to preserve things to be as editable as possible. Jeez, say that 5 times fast. But in this case, I think it'll be fine. So I'm just gonna merge all the shapes. Might even, do I want to rasterize it? Let's see. Want to merge all of them. Uh-oh. My heart always races when the mouse starts lagging. I wonder if it's gonna crash. Okay, I'm gonna merge shapes and then rasterize it. Is that a good idea? Maybe not. Yeah, what happened there? Why did those get... Okay, I guess I will just group them. Make it the grid. Because for some reason when I was merging the shapes, the lines were getting significantly lighter, and I still want them to be really bold. Alright, so remember I'm making this to go in this area, and I want the lines to be, you know, I want them to be have a similar weight to the lines here in the dock, so that it feels, you know, like in place. It doesn't feel out of place. If I'm thinking about how large those are, I guess I could export it. I'll do that. I've never done that before. I guess I've never really talked through this part before, so I've never thought to do it, but I'll export this at 150. And do I want the grid on or not? Yeah, I'll keep the grid on. But I will crop it. How do I do that? I've never tried this before. Probably like... Wow. You know what I've just realized? I think I could have just exported this and didn't have to go through making that whole grid because I did the crop thing. Let's see if it actually works. Actually, with the... Hold up. I could just get all of that, make one big asset for it and really stylize it. That'd be pretty cool. If I just did that, export it. Okay, I'm just gonna send it to Photoshop files for now. Oh, it was already there. Docs, Air Docs. Yeah, I'm gonna call them Air Docs. Okay, that actually looked like it probably worked. Wow. Yep, I wouldn't have had to do any of that grid stuff. It's already there. And I can just make a new layer, draw on top of it. Wow. Oh man, that crop feature is actually really cool. Good on you, Megasloot. Alright, I want to start drawing. So what do I want? Oh yeah, I need to pull out the elevator and look at it. So the elevator that I'm going to draw, something kind of like this. So it has circle, a wheel at the top. Jeez, I should use a different brush. There we go. Okay, it has a wheel at the top, a wheel at the bottom. It has the elevator and the counterweight, which in my case will be a bucket. Okay, and there's cord, So bucket will fill with water. Let's get that smoothing on. Much better. Actually, I could just do this. Whatever. Okay. So that bucket fills, drains. When it fills, this goes up. And it goes down. When it drains, this goes down. That goes up. Probably want to have some locking mechanism as well. So I'll have to draw in, like, I don't know, how would this thing lock? Probably have like a brake on the wheel. Yeah, you'd want a brake on the top wheel, I think. Yeah, it's got to be a pretty good brake. Yeah, because the bottom wheel won't do anything. Won't keep anything from falling. Alright, so how big do I want? Alright. So I'll make a few layers. I'll make what I'll call the carriage. Let's see, the wheel. Maybe make a layer for the rope. Can't tell if I want it to be rope or cable. I don't think they would have cable in Teshabal. They might have chain, but that would rust in the water. I don't know if rope would deteriorate. I mean, they use rope on sailboats, so I'm gonna go with rope. Maybe it's probably like a special rope, super strong. So we have this tree in the Tumultuan jungle, called the Tumultuan Quibraco, and it's essentially like has the hardest wood like in the world, and has a lot of other special properties. It fruits these like coconuts that can be used as cannonballs very effectively, and I'm wondering if maybe the leaves can be formed into like Tumultuan rope, maybe like, yeah, Tumultuan twine, and just be super strong. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. That'll be my headcanon for this draw. Okay, I think I want to use a brush that kind of mimics what's going on here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And then maybe smooth it. So theoretically, the wheel and the rope will be the highest. The rope will kind of live in 3 spaces, but I think that'll be workable. So I know the carriage is going to be, what was it, 12 by 12, so it just needs to fit in this area. So there's the carriage. The wheel is supposed to be like right on top. I could make the wheel really big, but that doesn't really make sense. I could make it a few wheels. That would be interesting. Yeah, actually, I think there's a special property about pulleys where it's like, for every wheel in a pulley, it like decreases, or like it changes the ratio of the pull. I don't understand it really, but it means you can pull a lot more weight because I think it has something to do with the distance that the rope has to travel. But anyway, what I'm thinking is there could be a few wheels. The wheels would be a little bit higher, so the line should be a little bit bigger. Could have a wheel here, something like that. So there's one wheel directly above it. Maybe have another wheel even higher that everything kind of pivots on. So have this one be here in the middle. Okay. No, I wanted them at the same height, because what's going to happen is the rope is going to go over and then under and then over again. I think the under area will be where the brake is. Does that make sense? Now I think you want the brake to be a clamping, not pushing up, because then it would actually hold on a little better. I'm not sure. It's one thing that's kind of interesting about making maps is if like you're doing it critically, you have to like start thinking about the engineering of the projects. Okay, so this will be weird. It's more like wheels. Should I make each wheel their own layer? I'm not sure. So I think that might be too big because I need here, I guess I'll make the bucket first. Can't believe I didn't have that in there. It's such an important part. So bucket. Oh man. I'll just erase that. Erase, please. Oh. My opacity was super far down. All right. How big would the bucket be? I don't know how heavy buckets are. This bucket would probably be made out of the Tumultuan Quebracho wood. Probably be pretty heavy. Actually, probably all this is Quebracho wood. I imagine if they have a good enough supply, they would always build with it. I mean, the forest is huge, unless the tree is really rare, but I guess the rarity of the tree might end up being determined by how often I use it in creating stuff. So let's say the bucket. How would I want a bucket shaped if I want it to drain? What's the best way to get a bucket to drain? Could have a sliding mechanism. Would there be too much friction to have a sliding mechanism in wood? I don't know. I'm just gonna block out the area anyway. So here's the bucket. That's where the bucket will go. And the wheels, there'll be 3 of them. So one will go like here. Gotta remember these will be a little bit thicker. So I put the one in the middle first. Kind of like this. So there's one wheel. There's another wheel. Here's a wheel. See, I want the rope to be pulling on the center of the carriage. So I need the wheel to end on the center like that. Same with the bucket. The bucket, I could probably actually have like 2 ropes going out. Yeah, it'll be kind of like a V that it catches on. That makes sense. And they could probably just like swivel it or something to empty it. So then the rope will kind of do this thing. I don't really know how to. So the rope will go from being smaller to being larger around here. To being smaller again. Like this. Okay. Throw a color overlay on that just so that it stands out for now. I'll try to make it like rope color. Let's see. There we go. It'd probably be a little lighter. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Slow progress, but just kind of figuring the. I want to make it like semi-realistic. Actually, no, I just totally messed this up. I forgot the rope is going to go under. I don't necessarily want to get rid of that layer because I kind of like it. Make rope 2. Whatever. All right. So I'm actually, what else? Actually, I want that same overlayer, so I'll just duplicate this layer and then erase it really quick. Okay. So on this one, what'll actually happen is the rope will come up and over. What am I doing? Come up, go down. It's gonna be pretty taut. So here. Try to give it a slight curve, and the rope will go down. That, and then on this side, do the same thing. Uh-oh. So there's a wheel, there's a wheel, there's a wheel. means there's going to be axle. If I could spell. So I actually want the axle to go under the wheel, at least for now, and probably go to the middle of these, yeah, because people get off that side. Something like that. Each of these will have an axle, right? Oh, that's interesting. Will they have an axle, or is it just like a pole in the ground? What would be the most secure? I think it would look cooler if it was just a pole in the ground that held all of it up. Nah, that thing would topple. That would be bad. So, do this as well. Have axles going across for each wheel. That seems fair. Yeah. Honestly, look pretty good. Kind of like the how they're just so slightly skewed. Ever so slightly. So I could go into more detail on the carriage. I think around now is the time that I would take a break and kind of look at more inspiration. Don't know how much I can show in a stream, honestly. I've never done this before. So modern elevators have a really interesting system where they like wrap a wire, like a large cable, around. Is it called a fulcrum?
Modern elevators.
Whoa. I wish I could look at any of these without something playing. No, fulcrum is for a lever, right? Yeah, so it's like a pulley and it's like just wrapped around a single motor a ton. Uses that to raise and lower the counterweight. Well, yeah, I imagine if you like wrap a rope around a really wide cylinder and that's your pulley, you're probably going to have a ton of friction. So if you can control the movement of that cylinder, then you can stop the rope from going up or down. So maybe I should make this middle wheel really wide. Yeah, I'll do that. Where are you? I'll have to redo the rope, but oh well. It's kind of how it be. Oh no. Yeah, because if I'm wrapping it all the way around, I don't want it to be that wide. And that's okay, because I honestly didn't love the way this rope looked. Need to get this color back though. Okay. So this rope would... Interesting. Huh. So I think the wheels would actually have to be gimbaled or like... Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I think I'm just going to roll with that because that would look kind of cool. It might be a little bit more stylized. Okay. I'm going to get rid of this wheel and this wheel. I'm sorry, guys. And the only axle that will remain is this one. That one. No, I don't want to do that yet. I really like the way these axles look, so I'm going to duplicate that layer. Okay. I can use those for something later. But I'll get rid of these ones. Then I'm going to make another... make it angled wheels. Okay. So what I'm thinking is if I want the rope going in this way on this side and connecting to this, the rope coming out this way, so in that way, out that way, then I need to have the wheels angled, the wheels of the pulley angled, so that it doesn't like fall off, because it wouldn't make sense to have, you know, if you have like a wheel right here, it wouldn't make sense to have the rope pulled that way. It could bounce off there and unravel, be no good. So, you know, I want the end of the wheel to be near the middle. So something like that. Yeah. Nice. Okay. The angled wheel over here. So I actually need this coming out a bit further. That sucks. I'll just draw over it because I don't really want to get rid of it. Yeah. There we go. Delete this one. Got this one wheel. So yeah, this way I can have a pretty large wheel. Comes to the center. Cool. I don't know though. That looks like it might cause a kind of unnatural curve to this one. looks alright. I don't know though, that's a weird curve coming off of there. Don't know if that's how that works. So maybe the wheels need to be, maybe the pulleys need to pivot. If the pulleys can pivot. Interesting. Okay. Probably be something more like this. Okay. Looks a little narrow, but run with it. It's in the rope. Go underneath right here. All right. Then this rope goes under there. No, I think I want the way this is angled. I think I'm gonna want the wheels to be closer to the center. This. Alright, I already have the right color selected. Yeah, that looks good. Alright. Give this thing the same treatment. This one's kind of tough. Looks good. Let's see, make another layer. And bring smoothing down a little bit. Some notches in it. Make it look like bundled rope. Some waves. Go. I suppose I should just fill it in now and put whatever detail I want to on top in black. Make it look like rope. Could have done this in, like, I'm sure I could have used the rope path in Dungeon Draft to do this in it. What I like about this is that, I mean, I'm already gonna come into Photoshop to add textures, maybe some shadows and highlights, definitely some shadows, really push the depth as much as possible. So if I just get into Photoshop as soon as possible to work on something, even if it means not using assets that Dungeon Draft already has, then I'll do it, because I'm gonna have to be here anyway. Fill in these ropes. It's actually, yeah, it looks pretty good. So the rope is over. If I want, I can go in with some black lines about that size and start adding some detail. So, let's see, is that close? Yeah, it looks pretty good. So if I go in with lines like this, the rope is going to be braided, right? So I'm actually going to turn smoothing up. So as I'm drawing it, I think it needs to be in these like thick segments to look like it's braided. It's going to be kind of tough. Really wish I had one of those it's called like a moon mouse or something, and it's this vertical mouse. Kind of feels like you're holding a pen, so I've been told. I would really like to use one of those. Not really digging the way that's looking. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just outline it. Definitely take smoothing down. Okay, so both ropes are going underneath, so it'd look kind of like that. this. Color overlay. Uh-oh. Oh man. Dang, that sucks. Alright, I guess I'll just roll with it. I was gonna do a color overlay on just the outline because I thought I had made it its own layer. Turns out I accidentally made it a layer mixed with what I thought was the background on the rope. Really sucks. It's alright though. How does that look? Trying to add some texture lines, but I don't know how these are looking. I'm not really feeling these. Maybe I should just use the rope here. Guess I could just go this far back and merge these. And then so maybe I should look at a rope model. Yeah, so the braids are pretty. Man, rope is almost like golden though. There we go. Yeah, I like how that's looking. This can't get the stroke I want on the mouse sometimes. There we go. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I like that. think I want to use different colors. So I think just the background. I'll do this. Oh, no. I think I'm actually going to make this rope a little more dramatic than it would seem, based on the background color that I did. Make it look a little tighter. Because if I'm being real, I want this to be something that I want to use in the future to really like get the most from my time right now. There we go. Looks pretty good. Let's see. Look at my models again. Okay. Not being super fussy. I mean, every once in a while, yeah, but trying to do this as quick as possible, at least on this part. Just want to make sure it looks alright. Here, probably make these a little bit bigger. And like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right. Let's see, can I? There we go. That looks pretty good. On this side. So I don't want this rope to be like too massive, especially, you know, compared to the other side. I think I'm going to try to make them kind of mirror each other. I think that looks decent. So that means that the I can't tell. I might not like the way that one looks. I just have to get these ones coming up and over. The distortion is hard to think about conceptualize. Something like that, I think. Then it's kind of coming over. That looks a little better. I don't want it to be so drastic. How's that look? I think that might work for now. So then some of these. Okay. Got the rope in there. I think that looks pretty good. If I zoom out and like I'm thinking about people being there, I think they could probably tell what's going on with that. I might try changing this later. It might just be a little too slanted. Like maybe this side had it right. Because it looks pretty good down here. It kind of looks decent. But I think there actually needs to be another layer of rope. Save this. I think there needs to be another layer of rope over here. Bucket rope. All right. And then that will keep the bucket suspended. There we go. let's call this suspension wheel. Outline. Bucket rope. Bucket rope. So it'll be like tied here or something. I'm not quite sure. But maybe I should turn smoothing up. So I can't get what I want. And it needs to be quite a bit smaller. Than this upper rope. Damn. Gotta brute force it, I guess. Not liking how that looks. Should have just made it chain. Oh, duh. Forgot. Just outline it to kind of look like a rope. There we go. Trick people's minds. I mean, you don't need to see all the detail because this one's up closer. Kind of like how that. Oh, kind of how that works. All right, so I want to put more detail into the carriage, and I want to put more detail into the bucket as well. The bucket seems like it'd be simpler, right? So as stated earlier, the bucket would be made of wood. Probably of the quebracho. So really dark brown, I'm assuming. Let's see where we got our bucket. Right here. So I think I want the bucket to be round. If it has the possibility of like having to pivot on this pulley and wherever it's centered. Yeah, then I want it to be round for sure. So it doesn't like hit anything. Can't tell if I'll have luck just putting the shape in, so let's see. I need to reorganize my layout. Oh yeah, it's with the line. See, so I want it to extend out to there. Ooh, that's pretty wild. What in the... Will the bucket be pronounced enough that way? That's a question. Also, would the bucket need to be closer? Might need to like move all of this over this way. Oh, that's actually dope. There a little bit. Yeah, that works. Bucket circle. Something like that? Yeah. Duplicate it. Make it smaller. Put it inside. And we've got ourselves a bucket. I won't leave it like that. It's just so that I know it's a bucket. What the? What? Why does it do the whole thing? Oh, maybe I shouldn't have rasterized it. Maybe instead, being dumb, I should just give it a fill. There we go. This one. Go, there's the bucket, and I'll make it look a little bit more stylized at some point. So is the carriage going to be made out of wood as well? I mean, that makes sense, right? Looking up wooden cage. That one probably. That one would probably work. Nice. All right, so here's the carriage. Make a layer above that. So what I'm realizing is that for I can could probably just make something over all of it. What I'm realizing is that to make this work on a swivel, this pulley, I need to have something going over top. And that will need to be connected to the axle, I think. Yeah, like that. Be a pretty tall structure. That's pretty cool. Same with this. There'll be something connecting the wheel to the axle. And then there will be the axle. And then it'll be suspended by rope or something. Yeah. All right, so back to the carriage. This is the layer I'll be working on. Carriage 2. I can do the same old thing. Oops. I don't know why it's been doing that recently. When I make my squares, it does it from the center rather than from the edge, and I don't like that. Okay, from the center. Okay. So got the rectangle laid in there. It's kind of like a wicker. The one I'm looking at is kind of looks wickered, but what I need would be more. I don't think it would be bent like that unless they had some like crazy humidity magic. That might be cool. They could use like shape water and something else to make the cage. Oh, that would actually be tight if the entire cage was just made of like bent wood. So I know I just made it a rectangle, but I could make it a circle. An ellipse. See, and then the ellipse goes from the corner. What is that? Okay, so make an ellipse. No, I don't want to make it an ellipse because then I'm losing out on space. Can I make this thing rounded? Yes. There we go. Yeah, so it's kind of more like a pod. It doesn't have those sharp corners. I keep doing that. Okay, making carriage too. So I'm thinking it'll be some like kind of like organic looking bent wood structure. I think that would be really cool. It's look organic, so it doesn't need to be, or it said organic looking, so it doesn't need to be super symmetric. Trying to get the perspective on this just right. So by angling these lines in particular ways and making them curve either convex or concave, I can make them look like you're viewing them at a perspective, a specific angle. I don't know about this one though. This one comes really high up. What I could do. Do I really want to do that though? That felt bad, but so be flipping it vertically. Oh no. Just wanted to flip this layer. There we go. And mirror it. Boom. Okay. Okay, so I'm just capping these bent wood planks so that it looks like they curve down into a structure of some sort. Didn't make the structure on this side. How am I going to do that? Man, messed up here. Let's see. There we go. That looks decent. Or, yeah. This I'll make like a piece of beveled wood. So this area will be curved out. Carved out? Well, kind of curved out too. This area will be raised. No, I need to do this side first. That side will be carved out as well. I don't know if I want that area raised or just to be an opening. That's kind of cool. I need to get rid of this rope. Can't even find it. Get rid of the wheel. No, the angled wheels. Definitely get rid of this layer too. There we go. And what is that? Rope outline. There we go. that. Not really sure what I'm like going for here. Just like imagining what a structure made from curved wood might look like. The tumultuant jungle is really humid. It'd be kind of cool if maybe they had some like steam powers, something, I don't know. But this could be emblematic of that. Let's see how it's looking without the rectangle. Uh-oh. There we go. It's pretty good. So let's go back to, let's see, not the axle, angled wheel. I mean, the attachment's just going to be right in the middle, right? So I need to finish these out though. Oh, no, I probably want to merge these layers sooner rather than later. And save. It's been a while since I've saved. All right. That looks okay. That looks pretty good. Okay, now how does the center look? I think it kind of bent up like that. No, I got it. This will be cooler. There we go. So it's this wood that's kind of been bent to be like hugging the rope or whatever is tied to it. Yeah, that's cool. Nice. All right. There's still something under here, though. So this one will go like that. Same on this side. I'm just trying to design this to look like the wood's curving all over the place in a way that doesn't seem structurally impossible. Oops. It's looking pretty cool. So let's bring it all back. Not the axle copy, but the angled wheels, which I'll probably change. Suspension wheel, its outline. Okay. I think I could change this a little bit. Have it be like... So you can actually only fit... You can only actually fit like 7 feet of cross in there. That should be enough. 7 feet? Yeah, that should be enough. Bring that into right around there. Yeah, actually that'll be perfect. All right. So let's fill this quabraco in. Carriage. So be underneath carriage. We can get rid of these rectangles. Actually, no, I'll keep them because they might come in handy for later stuff. Do I want to make this darker or lighter? I think the black I want it pretty dark. Yeah, I'll make it darker. Need to get rid of this stuff. I know there are probably faster ways to do this in programs like Illustrator, but I really like using Photoshop. I feel like anytime I use Illustrator, I just end up with, I don't know, very plain designs. I mean, this isn't like extraordinary by any means, but it has like a little bit of character because it's not so smooth. Probably come back in and add highlights to this layer as well. Some highlights and shadows. And I can't tell actually now that I'm looking at it if I want yeah, I can't tell if I want the outline for this to be lighter or darker than the wood. I do think I'll come through and clean up a couple of these areas, like don't love the way that looks. I mean, if I can clean up something pretty easily, I might as well. Oh no. See what happens if I make the outline darker. Yeah, until I make it like black, it just kind of blends in. And by the time it's black, it doesn't look that great. So kind of like that. So thinking of this thing in layers, this is like the top layer of the carriage. It's just the design you see. Then I need to make a middle layer that's like where you would stand. I don't think I need a bottom layer because you're not going to see anything more than that from the top. So the question is, what does the middle layer look like? Well, one thing I could do is bring the opacity down. No, I can group these as the carriage. What? Carriage. Alright, and then grouping them as the carriage, I can bring the opacity down like so. With that, I can start making the middle layer. Middle layer will go underneath. Probably be pretty dark. So how would it come out? So what if the like the pods that go up and down with these elevators are like so I was watching this documentary the other day about these newts that, or they're salamanders that live in trees, which is irregular, but what happens is the trees, as they grow, collect soil deposits in their branches, and the soil deposits remain wet enough and are large enough and fertile enough to support the salamanders as they live in the trees. What if I took that idea about having this like supportive soil kind of held up by like an earthen soil held up by a wooden net almost? What if I employed that here? So it's like you have the curved wood, and then in this curved wood shell is like dirt soil that gets replenished or something. I don't know. Would continuous use shake all of it away? I might not do that quite yet, but for anyone watching, let me know what you think in the comments. What I can do is I can at least start on the shape of it. Kind of come down. No. Honestly, can I make it as boring as it would like, or like, is it this simple? It's not necessarily boring. I still have the outside. Do I just, or the top layer, I mean. don't know though. I could. Yeah, what if it's like. Okay, so that's like the base level grass. Should probably put some soil underneath the grass. That'd probably sell it a little bit better. So the soil I'm gonna make pretty red, pretty dark. Bring the opacity back up. Yeah. So it's going to be kind of this like mossy little area encapsulated by the carriage. I'll make some plants that like hang down from it. Let's see. Make it a bit brighter green. What will plants, what will hanging plants look like off of this thing? think they'd be a brighter green. Make it look kind of fertile. Some grass and stuff. I think I really needed to work from dark to light. So I'm actually going to delete that layer, add a new one, and go from just above this. What would be after that? Be some patches here and there. It'll be darkest near the center. We'll have lights coming in this way. Oh, this is still in carriage. I don't want that in carriage. There we go. Yeah, so this will slowly make its way from the inside, actually. So it'll slowly lighten as it comes out towards this area. I'm actually gonna just delete all that. Don't know which way I want the light coming from. That's a problem. It's looking pretty good. Starting to get a nice gradient going. I was definitely taking my time with this, but I think the outcome will be really cool. I don't think I've ever put so much time into a single asset, but it's looking pretty good. Ooh, yeah, that looks way better. I should keep. Nice. Oh, that looks pretty good already. Let's see how it looks when we start adding stuff back. Nice. That looked pretty cool. Alright, well, I'm at just about the 3-hour mark. And I didn't make too much progress on this map. Except for, like, I've been mulling this water-powered elevator over in my head for a while now. It's going to be interesting because I have to make the lower area, which will be, which will show this. But I guess really all I'll have to show is, no, I'm probably going to do multiple versions of each of this, or of this, so that on the bottom you'll be able to see when. Oh, actually, no, what's interesting is in the grand scheme of things, I'll have to make 2 versions of this. If the water bucket is up here, then the carriage will not be. It'll be down. So that'll be easy. I can just shrink the asset in Photoshop and it'll look like it's further away. And I can do that for both, but I'm going to have to make some version of this where you can see the equipment on the ground as well, because I'm going to make a ground level that is separate from the upper level. So I have a little bit more work to do on the lifts, but I think those will be like the big part of this map. Like I think those will be really highlighted. The dock will come together pretty fast. And then I'll have some custom assets that maybe I could put out at some time if people want me to. But I'm gonna take a break, grab something to eat, grab some more water. Thanks for watching if you did. I'll do this some other time just because, I mean, it was pretty easy for me to hop on here and just work on this. I might try to have a little bit more structure to it next time, but I was pretty much, it's behind the scenes. I'm just doing what I would normally do. You can get a taste of what's going on, but I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.